Frontal sinus.
Okay, right here. Frontal sinus. So this is a space in the frontal bone. It's lined with mucous membrane. All of the sinuses are. There's several of them in the various bones. There's an ethmoid sinus, okay, and there's a frontal sinus. There's even a maxillary sinus. They're all lined with mucous membrane, and sometimes they get inflamed, and the mucus builds up, and you get sinus headaches, and your nose runs, and so on. Most of these sinuses drain downward, so that gravity helps you to keep them drained, but the maxillary sinus has to drain upward. So that's the one that most frequently causes sinusitis types of problems. All right, at any rate, so here's the frontal sinus. What's the next thing on the list?
Sphenoidal sinus.
Sphenoidal sinus right here. Okay? So these are the sinuses that you have to know. What's next?
Superior conchi?
Superior conchi, or turbinate bones. You should have learned about those last semester. The superior and middle conchi are part of the ethmoid bone, but the inferior concha, or turbinate bone, is a separate bone all in its own right. So here's the sup, the middle, and the inf. Okay, so these are the three conchi, or three turbinate bones.
The auditory tubes?
All right. The auditory tubes is a tube that connects from the pharyngeal area up to the middle ear on the inside side of the eardrum. So it's to the middle ear, not the external ear. And you've all experienced this thing, like when you're riding up a hill, your ears pop, right? You have to swallow to equalize the pressure. That's the function of that thing. It's to equalize air pressure, environmental air pressure, with the air pressure in your middle ear, so that you don't pop your eardrums. At any rate, that is located. I have to get up so I can see.
The chair?
No, I'm all right. That's located right here. Okay, this spot right here is the opening of the eustachian tube, which will lead up towards the middle ear. Next.
I don't know what this word says.
Pharyngeal. There are three tonsils: pharyngeal, palatine, and lingual tonsils. Okay, those three tonsils. The tonsils are lymphatic tissue. They house millions and millions of white blood cells, and you can see why they're there. They form sort of a ring here in the pharynx, because we're breathing in a lot of garbage, including bacteria, viruses, diesel exhaust fumes, all sorts of crud that's in the air. So we have these ring of lymphatic tissue there, so that the white blood cells can gobble up and destroy bacteria and so on before they have an opportunity to enter down lower into the lungs. Okay. So, I'm sorry. Where are they? Okay. So what's the first one listed?
Pharyngeal.
Okay. The pharyngeal tonsil is this thing right here. Okay. In some of the models, they're colored kind of darker than this, and they're more obvious. But make sure that you appreciate that this is the pharyngeal. Then there is the
Palatine.
The palatine is the palate. So this is the palatine.
And the lingual.
And the lingual is behind the tongue. Lingua means tongue. Oh wait, I just gave you wrong. I'm sorry. Let's go to the three again. Pharyngeal, palatine, right under the soft palate, palatine, and this is the lingual, under the tongue. Lingual, under the tongue. Okay. So ding, dong, dung. All right.
Okay.
Next.
The pharynx.
Well, the pharynx is just the. If you tell someone, open your mouth wide, stick out your tongue, and say, you're looking into their pharynx. Okay. So pharynx is just the back of the throat. So I'm not going to ask you for that.
Hard palate.
Okay. The hard palate is this bony part. You see how they show bone like this, This is the bony part. And then the soft palate is the part behind it. And the uvula is this little punching bag that hangs down. You can see that when you ask someone to open their mouths and you look in with a flashlight, you can see the uvula hanging down. Okay, that's this thing, the uvula. Okay?
Epiglottis.
epiglottis right here. It should be shown in blue because they show cartilage in blue. Epiglottis, and you can picture this thing coming down, closing this tube off so that the food has to slide down the esophagus. Here's the esophagus. Okay, next.
Esophagus.
Esophagus.
Larynx.
Okay. Larynx is, of course, this part, the part that sticks out as the Adam's apple. Okay, so this whole thing would be larynx. If I wanted you to label larynx, I would have to put a piece of tape like this with several different arrows pointing in this general direction.
Vocal cords.
The vocal cords are inside this slit. Okay? That's what you see on these models as the pieces of felt. Those are the vocal cords.
Hyoid cartilage.
Okay. Thyroid.
Oh, this says hyoid.
Oh,
And then you wrote thyroid here.
hyoid bone. Right?
Oh.
Hyoid bone. You'll only see the hyoid bone in cross section here, and it's right here. It's this little bitty thing. I get a lot of people getting that wrong on the exam. Hyoid bone. Right here. Next.
Thyroid cartilage.
Thyroid cartilage.
The cricoid cartilage.
Cricoid cartilage. Right. It's narrow in front and wide in back. Cricoid cartilage. Yeah.
The thyroid gland.
Well, thyroid gland can't see on this model. You have to see that on this model. Okay.
Corniculate cartilage.
Yeah,
That's all on there.
back
Okay.
to that,
Okay.
which I already went over. Okay, so you guys.